I'd like to call to order the Town Council meeting for March 23rd. We stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mike Aurelio is absent. Brian Blazak.
Present.
Wayne Pondinas.
Present.
Michael Schilling.
Here.
Gerald Swetz.
Here.
Joe Wizawati.
Present.
Dave Westland.
Present.
And Beth Hernandez present.
Okay, so we have a quorum. So, first thing I would like to do would make a modification to the agenda and move item number D, under new business 7D, to the very beginning of the council meeting here. And so item number D is to consider the retirement of the police department K-9 match and to allow the sale of the K-9 to his handler, Officer Shane Adams, for $1. Do I have that motion?
So moved. Second.
Motion by Mike Schilling, support by Brian Blazak. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. That is approved, 4-0. Next item then would be resolution. Item number 20-, resolution 20. I'm sorry?
Next one. After.
It's coming right now. Coming right up. Resolution 2022-03-23D, which is a resolution honoring K-9 match on the occasion of his retirement. Whereas the Town Council of St. John, Lake County, Indiana has determined that through our K-9 officer Shane Adams, that our K-9 match has fulfilled and completed his duties with the St. John Police Department. And whereas K-9 match was born on June 21, 2013 in Schiffweiler, Deutschland, and earned his certification through the American Police K-9 Association as a patrol and narcotic detection dog. Whereas K-9 match has worked long hours, day and night, serving and protecting the people of the town of St. John since Match began his tour of duty in October of 2014. And whereas during his distinguished career, K-9 Match has become a celebrity with children and adults alike. He has been a reflection of strength, protection, loyalty, and good-hearted companionship. Match has been and always will have a place in the hearts of the residents of St. John and the St. John Police Department family and our neighboring police agencies. Whereas K-9 Match has taken a bite out of crime in the region by assisting with numerous arrests, conducting vehicle searches, and performing school searches for many years. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Town Council of the Town of St. John, Lake County, Indiana, as follows. Section 1. The Town Council hereby recognizes K-9 Match for his exemplary devotion to duty, focus, drive, and unwavering loyalty and companionship, and honor Match on the occasion of retirement with so many years of happiness and a home filled with love, care, and the companionship he so richly deserves. Section 2. That a copy of the resolution shall be presented to Officer Shane Adams on behalf of a grateful community. And Section 3, that this resolution shall take effect and be in full force and effect from and after its approval and passage by the Town Council of the Town of St. John, Lake County, Indiana, in conformance with applicable law. I would like a motion to adopt and pass this resolution.
So moved.
Thank you, Brian. Is there support for that?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Pondinas. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. This is passed and adopted on the 23rd day of March, 2022 by the Town Council of the Town of St. John, Lake County, Indiana. I would like the officer and K-9 to please step forward so I can make a presentation. Thank you much for your years of service to Match. You guys have something you want to do with? We do. Okay, come forward, please.
Like start deteriorating.
On behalf of the St. John staff, St. John Police Department staff, we all want to dedicate, we all want to show our appreciation for the time and dedication that Match and also Officer Adams has shown in the last several years. We want to present this plaque from the PD as a recommendation.
Thank you, guys.
We also have a gift bag from the PD as well.
Yeah, there's treats in it, he knows.
There's also a Hungry Hound has graciously donated a goodie gift bag as well from the recognition of medical service.
Thank you, guys. Honestly, I'd be remiss if I didn't say that, you know, we all know Match is a great dog, but the reason Match is a great dog is that Shane is a phenomenal handler. You're not gonna find anybody that has more dedication, more commitment, and more care for this dog than I've ever met in my life. So we are blessed to have such a great canine team here, and we're really gonna miss them.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Would you want to have the guys come forward and pictures?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Okay.
Are you taking pictures now? Should I be holding my son again? No, I'm not doing it. You found way out of your office twice today. Yeah. I'm proud of you. If I get y'all look over here for a moment. I want to get it there. Perfect. Thanks, guys. Good? One more little thing.
Amy, do you want one for ground bag?
Yeah, right? Okay.
Hey, Jerry. Oh, no, that's fine. I'm just curious. You know, I ain't gonna bug you. Huh? That's all.
Wayne?
Sorry, I also have my packaging tape from the first time.
I know. Because I let him hold it, Dad. Come on. You know I can do that.
read the stats out. Oh. I thought it was important that everybody knows matches stats because they weren't shared, so we are actually, we put it in our plaque. So Judy will read those out about match.
K9 match, October 1st, 2014, March 23rd, 2022. For his dedication and faithful service to the citizens of St. John, Indiana. A special thank you to his handler and partner, Officer Shane Adams, badge number 19. K9 match stats, narcotic searches, 365, tracks, 88, building searches, 34, community demonstrations, 57, apprehensions, 8, evidence searches, 9, patrol duty, 7, area searches, 11, total deployments, 599, arrests due to K9 match, 101.
Yeah, buddy.
Thank you, man.
You smile, Stacy. I mean, I know it's a sad day, but geez.
Take that home and open that later. Yep.
Said we can't let you get away with it until we get a picture of it.
All right, everyone's attention. I want to thank everybody for all the support. It's been a pleasure working with Match. It's pretty hard to retire on, not work with them anymore. It's been a pleasure. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of stuff. Been up the mud, a lot of people's my ways. He's told me through it, stuff like that. So, yeah, memories for a lifetime working with a Match and stuff like that. So I just like to thank everybody for the support, for everyone coming out for the gifts, and thank everybody. So I will take very good care of them to get home, time for them to be on wax, and just follow it every single day. Thank you.
Back up all these cops would don't. They don't. I know. Yeah. You know something's going on. You just can't figure out what it is.
Huh?
What's that?
You got like hip dysplasia.
Oh yeah, 'cause it's limpy.
Yeah. His back's like very messed up. It's so sad.
No, that's why he's retiring.
Yeah.
Shane's a heck of a nice guy. Real nice guy. We got a lot of nice police officers.
Yeah, we do.
What's that?
I said somewhere in Cook.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I know. There are.
Yeah, for real.
Oh yeah. You always got to have a certain percentage of them.
Yeah.
Okay. We could continue on and resume our agenda back to item number 4, which is approval of the minutes. We have 4 sets of minutes before you: January 12, 2022, regular meeting; January 26, 2022, regular meeting; February 23rd, 2022, regular meeting; the March 3rd, 2022 special meeting; and March 7, 2022 special meeting. I did notice there were some spelling, a couple of corrections that needed to be done on the January 12th and the January 26th minutes, which have been turned in, and those modifications have been made. Are there any other questions or comments on those minutes? If not, I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the January 12th, 2022, to the January 26th, 2022, February 23rd, 2022, the March 3rd, 2022 special meeting, and the March 7th, 2022 special meeting minutes.
Thank you, Mike. Is there support for that?
Second.
Thank you, Brian. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Those are approved, 4-0. Item number 5 would be public comment. I have no one signed up for public comment. So we will move on to number 6, which is the public hearing for ordinance number 1758, which is an ordinance reestablishing the cumulative capital development fund. Mr. Westland.
The proofs of publication are in order and compliant with the law.
Okay. Beth, opening remarks?
Just to recap from our last town council meeting, the current rate for our CCD fund is already at the maximum of 5 cents per $100 of assessed value. However, the town could reestablish the rate just to ensure no extra levy is lost due to the assessed value growth pushing the rate below 5 cents in 2023. If we continue at the same growth that we've seen in 2021 and 2022, which is approximately 10%, we would see an extra roughly $80,000 in our levy for year 2023. So I would say it's advisable to reestablish this fund.
Okay. I will open the floor to public comment. Is there anyone that would like to make public comment on this ordinance? Calling twice, calling 3 times. Okay, I will close the floor to public comment. Questions or comments from the council?
I don't have any.
No. All right. Then I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to consider ordinance number 1758 on first reading.
Thank you, Mike. Is there support for that?
Second.
Thank you, Brian. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. That is approved, 4-0. Can we go on, even since it's unanimous, even though we only have?
Consent of those present.
Okay. So do we want to, somebody want to make a motion to adopt ordinance 1758?
So
Second.
moved.
Thank you, Brian. Support, Mr. Schilling?
I'll second that.
All right. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay. That is approved, 4-0. We will move on to item B, which is resolution 2022-03-23, which is a resolution authorizing and directing the town council president of the town of St. John to submit a project proposal for community development block grant funds for the federal year of 2022. Mr. Westland. Are the proofs of publication in order?
They are.
Okay. Opening remarks. Beth, anything?
I don't have any opening remarks.
Okay. Joe, have anything?
Yeah, actually, we do have some recommendations for projects specific to the CDBG grant, which would include ADA improvements in the Gates Park. So that would be the
One of the projects?
one of the projects that we would be submitting for in this grant.
Okay. I will open the floor to public comment. Does anybody have public comment on this resolution? Calling twice? Calling 3 times. Okay, I will close the floor to public comment. Anything from the board? Questions or comments? Mike, Wayne? Brian?
None.
All right, I will entertain a motion to adopt Resolution 2022-03-23 and authorize the town council president to sign.
So moved.
Thank you, Brian. Is there support for that?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Mr. Schilling. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. That is approved 4-0. Item 7, new business. Consider ordinance 1759, which is an ordinance establishing the Town of St. John Parks and Recreation Memorial Bench and Tree Special Revenue Fund. Mr. Wiswati, any comments on this?
I have none.
Okay. Anybody have questions or comments on this? This comes from the Park Board. Okay, do I have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to consider ordinance 1759 on first reading.
Thank you, Brian. Is there support for that?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Pondinas. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. That is approved 4-0 with unanimous approval of that. Would someone like to make a motion to adopt ordinance 1759?
So moved.
Thank you, Brian. Is there support for that?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Pondinas. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. That is approved 4-0. Item 7B, consider resolution 2022-03-23A, which is a resolution declaring uncollectible bad debt from the St. John Ambulance billing in the amount of $266,636.10. Questions or comments?
I guess maybe just one question. Beth, is this bigger or smaller than last year?
I have not seen it.
Oh,
It's
okay.
from the fire department, so I can't answer that question.
Okay, thanks.
If I may.
Yes, please.
It's about the same as it was in the last time they did this resolution. It's not far off the marker. These will be coming up periodically and routinely. As the EMS, they write off the uncollectible amounts as bad debt.
Right.
It just allows us to keep our books clean.
Can we do it like quarterly possibly?
Well, that's something we talked about, so we could move it into quarterly
Okay.
versus every 6 months. So
All right.
I would like to see it quarterly.
Quarterly would be a lot neater and smaller, of course.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments?
No, I don't have anything.
Then I will entertain a motion to adopt resolution 2022-03-23A.
So moved.
Thank you, Brian. Support for that?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Mr. Schilling. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. That is approved 4-0. Item C is to consider the supplemental agreement number 1 to the service agreement of First Group Engineering to provide services for First Group Engineering Project 21-0010 with an increased amount of $18,010. Questions or comments on this supplemental agreement?
Yeah, on that $18,010, we might not get charged all of that, if I've got that right.
Yeah, that's correct. So there may not be surveys and appraisals required. Well, there will be a survey required, but there's not going to be appraisals required, perhaps, because this is going to be a donated property. So that may not come into play with respect to the donor. If it is, that would be the amount that would be required for it. So essentially, that would be an amount not to exceed, if you will.
Is this the intersection, Joe?
Yeah.
This is the property that's going to be donated by,
The church.
the church.
In the original agreement, they didn't have land acquisition in the agreement.
In the agreement, that's correct.
There's gonna be.
Yeah.
All right, so then the motion should be to increase the amount not to exceed $18,010.
That would be fair.
Okay,
So moved.
thank you, Mike. Is there support for that?
Second.
Thank you, Brian. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. That is approved 4-0. Item number D, we have already handled. Item number E is to consider the fire department full-time firefighter vacant position. Joe?
So there's currently a vacancy in one of the full-time firefighter positions. What the chief is asking for is that the board authorize the filling of that position, and that's thus the motion.
Okay. So we're looking for a motion to authorize the fire
And-
chief to fill the vacant full-time firefighter position.
I'd like to say something before we vote.
You may.
We brought this up before, and my question on here before, when I seen this, is who left? Nobody left when we made the deputy chief. They knew that there was gonna be a vacancy, and the rule was there's gonna be a policeman this year and a fireman next year. Now we're jumping the gun a little bit. What's this gonna do to the budget? You know,
Well,
Yeah.
what they're gonna do there is they're gonna use the money in their part-time funds that they would normally use to fund part-time guys to fund the full-time guy. I don't, when he came down, he said he's having a hard time filling his part-time shifts. And then they have them filled with part-time people and they call off prior to their shift. And,
well, then maybe the chief has to get on his men about calling off all the time.
well, it's the part-time guys, it's.
But
hard to force
we
part-time
had
guys
brought
to
that
come
up,
to-
and if I remember right, oh yeah, you agreed to it. So, there's not a vacant position, basically. They knew that when they gave the promotion.
Right. So the way that I understand it in the discussions I've had with the chief is that there is a vacancy in that position. So if that's not the case, obviously the board's authorizing to fill a vacant position, not create one. So that position wouldn't be filled if there is not a vacancy in a full-time position.
Then maybe we need to defer to the next meeting and find out, you know, the whole story on that. I'm not against hiring anybody, but when you say something in a meeting, and we can go back and check the minutes, but that was the agreement as far as I understood it, unless I understood it
Okay,
wrong.
but this was on the agenda last month, and we deferred it last month because they didn't have necessarily all the dollars and cents in order, I think. My understanding is that they're just moving some budget dollars around to add an extra police officer,
Extra fire.
or extra fire.
And later on in the year, we'll do an appropriation because they don't have money.
Mike, you said in the,
The way the fire chief explained it to me, he's gonna take his money that he has appropriated for his part-time guys that he doesn't use and use that towards his full-time guy.
That was my understanding, Mike.
okay,
Is
But I don't
is the
wanna
fire
come-
chief on the phone tonight, or?
No, there's nothing on the screen.
I don't have a problem moving forward with this.
no, and we had it in last month's agenda, and we deferred it last month, so if there were questions that they should have been brought up at that time, maybe. So with that, I will entertain a motion if somebody wants to make one.
Make a motion to authorize the fire chief to fill a vacant full-time firefighter position.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Schillinger, support for that.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Blazak. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Nay.
That is approved 3-1. Okay. Item number F is to consider the formation of an ad hoc committee for preparation of the plans for the American Rescue Plan Act funds. So we've got just around $4 million in federal funding that we can spend on a number of different projects. At the public hearing that was held earlier in the month, it was determined to put together an ad hoc committee So I'm looking at committee. We looked at a couple of different options, a couple of different ideas, which included department heads and things like that. I think I would like to keep it to strictly to residents. The department heads that are asking for the money, I don't think should be on the decision-making end of making recommendations. My recommendation is that we would authorize Joan McInerney, Stacy Daniel, and John DeYoung appointed to this member of the ad hoc committee, with our town manager serving as the delegator and the liaison to run that committee.
I thought we were gonna advertise for people from the public, and according to our own, town manager, I don't wanna throw him under the bus, but he recommended department heads and the clerk treasurer be part of that.
Yeah, and I just said, really don't think we should have department heads as the
Well,
decision-making
I know what you
process.
said,
Okay,
but I'm just saying that I think that, you know, the public, they're coming in, I can see having a couple people from the public, but I think your department heads know more about the town than the public.
the department heads will actually entertain, or actually will bring their needs and their desires to the committee, and the committee can make their recommendations to the council from there. I don't want to drag this thing out. I want to get this thing going. I want to get some ideas from what's going on from the different department heads and move this thing along.
But how do you just pick 3 people when you could advertise? If you want the public, then advertise for the public and let the public put in applications.
So you want to put in applications, and then you want to interview everybody that applies?
You could-
And
well,
and
you-
we're looking farther down the road?
Pick so many, well, when are
We've
you
got-
gonna
we've got
put all
other-
this together?
We've got other communities that have already passed their ordinances and resolutions on this money, and we
Right.
haven't done anything yet.
But we don't have to spend the money right away.
No, but I would like to.
I-
I would like to put some more firefighters and more policemen on the street. And I'd like to see
But
some of the money go for that.
when you use that money, Jerry, is it not right that if you take 3 people and put them on, that's great, but in a couple of years, where's that money gonna come from?
Well, they're not making the decisions to do it. They're
I'm
going to
just
make
saying,
the
you
recommendations
use the
to the
word
town council.
firemen and policemen.
Yeah.
But if you put 3 people on, that's great, because you have the money. But later on, 2 years, 3 years down the road, you might not have that money. Now what do you do with the people you hired?
No,
That's what I'm trying to say.
okay, so I really didn't want to get into this here, but just say, for example, we take the 2024 police officer
Right.
and the 2026 police officer that we were going to hire. Both of those would be on the 2027 budget. So if we use these funds to cover us, to get us to 2027, they'll already have been in the budget. So it
And
will not, so it won't increase our budget at all.
I think at one time we decided, maybe when Senator Unit was, the lady was here from Senator, that I think, if I remember right, she said that we should do something that we would normally not do with the money. So if you had something with a building or something, fix that, because you're probably not gonna fix that right away. And I'm not against hiring policemen, firemen, but you have to be good stewards of your money.
Well, I think
And-
we also have some serious road issues that need to be resolved this year with more money than we have in our budget. So that, is also one of the requests too. So the different department heads will bring their requests to this committee. They'll make a recommendation to the town council for us to.
But
move
I
forward
think
from
this
there.
was all predetermined on who you're gonna put on the board, and I don't think that's right to the rest of the public.
Okay. You've got your,
Well, I'm entitled to my opinion, I understand that.
okay.
But I don't think that's right, because if you advertise this, or that people watch the meeting, we were gonna put people on there from the public. But it's all been predetermined and the decision's made.
Who's gonna decide who from the public gets on the committee?
You take so many people, and maybe you just take 3 people out of there, I don't know, or look at
Oh,
it.
no, you're not gonna draw people. Come
Well,
on.
this is not right
All right.
by putting 3 special people on there that you appointed. That's not right. I don't think that's fair.
These are all people that have been approved to boards by this, by
They've
this
been
council.
approved by boards, that's fine.
All right, so I'm asking, is there a motion to approve those 3 members?
So moved.
Is there support for that? Okay, so if there's no support, it's going to die. Okay, that motion dies. Does somebody else have a different motion? Or do we want to kick this down the road to next month?
Well, it's only in a month's time. I make a motion, consider the formation of the ad hoc committee for preparation of Plan American Rescue Plan, ACT, ARP funds, and add clerk treasurer to the committee and the department heads. Plus 3 people on a committee that's not just chosen, but predetermined.
I mean, by me.
Did I say that? Have you got a guilty conscience?
Not at all.
I mean,
I'm not hiding anything.
You know, and like, well, because of me, not because of you.
Okay. All right, so that's a motion from Wayne. Is there support for that? Okay, that dies also. Is there another motion? The only one that hasn't spoken, Mike, you have an idea, a suggestion?
Well, I know the town manager had came up with a list of people that he wanted on the committee.
I'm going to do what the pleasure of the council is. However, I would like to talk to individually, and maybe we can come to some resolution for the next council meeting. I don't think we're going to have resolution tonight, based on the fact that we don't have 3 people who are in agreement on this. So maybe we revisit this at the next council meeting, after we kind of regroup and have individual meetings with you guys, so we can kind of come up with a consensus on how we want to move forward.
I think that's a good suggestion.
So then is there a motion to defer?
I'll make a motion to defer.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Mr. Schilling, supported by Mr. Pondinas. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed say nay. Nay. And that is deferred by a 3-1 vote. All right. Reports and correspondence, item number 8. Town council. Wayne, you have anything?
Yeah, the SCADA system, and we were all talking about that for the last 6 years. They start installing it in our water towers, and next they're going to be in the treatment plants. That started on Monday, so 2 months should go by. 1 month maybe to put it all in, then to tweak it. It's like, you know, aiming a weapon and getting it on target. Everything should be good. And then I wanted to question the new employee that we got in the office. We didn't hear nothing, and all of a sudden she appears. How did that happen? She's going to be full-time, so is that going to mess up our budget? Was that in the budget? And nobody interviewed her that I know of.
It was made as a recommendation from our last departing town manager that we needed a second person in there. And yeah, I think
Is it in the budget?
probably not. Probably not. Not all of it. We got in the budget
Okay.
we got in the budget for recording secretary, so we're using those funds to cover some of that.
All right. I mean, we do a lot of appropriations, and I don't want to keep going and appropriate. That's not fair. And the last meeting, I gave you a water meter raise that we should probably start looking into. Right now, it's holding there, but if you've seen the paperwork that I sent everybody or handed to you, you should look at it, and maybe we look at that. Next, with MS4 and that, there's a stormwater fee that we're looking at. I don't know when we're going to get that into play, but that money would be used to help pay for stormwater projects, and we need to look at that. I think that's important. And then the Kmart, is there any update on the Kmart? Well, I think a couple meetings ago you said something about Kmart, and you had talked to somebody.
I did, and the previous town manager had sent some information to him, and we haven't heard back from him yet on that. So I don't know if that kind of fell in the cracks because of the change of the town manager, but
Okay.
I would like to get that going as well.
And then I had, we discussed with Joe briefly, and he might be bringing it up later, about sprinkler systems being turned on and maybe going every other day or odd days, just to help out with the town during the summer, because we're getting a lot of extra houses built, and everybody's getting a sprinkler system. and it could help our water system a little bit. Because we had some problems with just the distribution, the hydraulics of the whole system.
Okay. Yeah, I think the MS4 board, I think Brian's going to handle that in his report, so. Mr. Schilling,
I don't have anything.
Mr. Blazek,
Yes, sir. Speaking about the MS4 board, I'd like to make a motion to ratify the term and restate the appointment of Joe Moore, who was approved last meeting, to a 4-year term on the Stormwater Board.
okay, is there support for that?
I'll second that.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
I got a question on it.
Oh, yes,
And Joe's a good guy, but Joe also has a company that supplies those black socks. And if he's going to be on MS4, they go around the curb and that, would that be a conflicting interest?
He has no intention to enter his company's business or consulting in
And
the
I'm
water
just
board.
asking that because
Yes, he's not interested in charging St. John 1 penny ever for his service. Ever.
no, I'm not talking about that as a conflicting interest. You have to have that, the area of when you build with the socks and stuff for erosion. And he makes that product.
I understand that.
And he's not gonna charge the town for his services.
No,
But his company makes that stuff. That's all I'm saying. I've known Joe a long time.
he therefore
He's a
is
good
not-
man.
Yeah, he's not going to have anything to, if you want, we can get a statement that says he's not going to.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I
Well, we
don't
can
want us
do
to make a
that.
decision.
He'll have no problem
And
doing
have
that.
a problem with it. That's
No.
all I'm saying, Brian. I have nothing bad to say about Joe. I've known him while he was building houses in town.
so you would like a conflict of interest statement from him?
Yeah, that would be
That's
that would
fine.
be good.
He'll be glad to do it.
I think he's a stand-up guy. I don't want to have problems later on down the road.
But as long as he's not selling anything to the town, then there is no conflict. If he's not
If you
gaining,
want a conflict statement, we'll
Yeah,
get
but
one.
he's yeah okay. Never mind. I'll stop.
all right.
I'd
So-
also make a motion to
Wait a
ratify.
minute, we didn't vote on this yet. We have to vote on Joe Moore first. So we've got a motion, we've got a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Okay, second member,
I'd like to make a motion to ratify the term and restate the appointment of Joe Gomez-Toggle to 3-year term on the Stormwater Board.
okay. So that's the motion. Is there support for that?
I'll second it.
Thank you. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. That is approved 4-0.
I'd like to make a third motion for another approved individual. Motion to ratify the term and restate the appointment of Bill Manasopoulos to a 2-year term on the Stormwater Board.
There's support for that?
I'll second it.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. That is approved 4-0.
That concludes the business of the Stormwater Management Team. There's believe a meeting in the first Friday in the month of April, on which they will have election of officers and so forth.
Brian, do you know when I'll get the meeting notice?
Joe's been,
I think it was Thursday, the 7th, at 5
it is,
o'clock.
yeah, Joe's gonna handle
I
it.
j-
So
yeah, I
you'll-
just
yeah, he
found out
just
about
got
that
the
today.
email. We just got it this morning, or this afternoon.
Okay. And I have nothing. Beth?
I have nothing.
Joe?
Yes, I got a brief report. Included in your packets was a copy of the complete report. I'm going to truncate it for the purposes of the meeting, but you have a detailed report. You will be receiving these every 2 weeks, just to update you on progress of projects and various things, including any personnel stuff that'll be included in there. These are, any personnel matters obviously will be confidential with the council and the clerk treasurer's office. But just an update to the council about the past 2 weeks. We've been very busy getting up to speed on the projects, departments, engineering attorneys, financial advisors, and staff. Spent time getting acquainted and up to date on matters with the staff, and truly, they're a wealth of knowledge. The town of St. John has a first-class leadership team from department heads, directors, and support staff, something that the town should be very proud of. We've held 2 interdepartmental meetings with senior staff. These will be held every 2 weeks going forward, and will provide everyone with a valuable insight as to the operations of the town. We went over some of the various projects that I've outlined in my report. If you guys have any questions, I'd be happy to answer those at this time.
Thank you for putting all this together. Appreciate it.
Anybody have anything for Joe?
And as I heard today, it's like drinking from a fire hose the last few weeks, but it's been very enlightening.
Well, thank you for your work.
Yep, you're doing a fine job, Joe.
All right. Anything else, Joe?
No, sir.
Mr. Westland?
No.
All right. The request to purchase, Beth?
We have 5 requests to purchase. One is to Boonder Electric, one for Austin Electric, one for Ferguson Waterworks, one for Master Meter, and one for SF Mobile Vision. All 5 total $38,934.40.
Do I have a motion to approve the request to purchase as submitted by the clerk treasurer and authorize her to pay the same?
Make a motion to approve the RTPs.
All right, is there support for that?
Second.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Mr. Schilling. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. That is approved 4-0. Item number 10 is payment of the bills. We have 2 dockets in front of you. Questions or comments on the payment vouchers? All right, let's take, which one's first? February, March one, for $927,312.88. Do I have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to pay the docket for $927,312.88.
Is there support for that?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Mike. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. That is approved 4-0. And the second docket. Questions or comments?
I'd like to make a motion to pay the docket in the amount of $2,882,682.88.
That's $2,682,531.88. Was that your motion?
Yes, it is.
Thank you. Is there support for that?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Mike. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. That is approved 4-0. Item number 11 is, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you, Brian. Is there support for that? You guys want to stay here longer?
I'm gonna test your patience.
I can sit here a while.
Set.
I need support for the motion to adjourn.
Oh, nice.